cuffs are off, man. Get right, too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gonna...
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking often, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves.
What up? What up? What up, world? Welcome back to the Get Right Fantasy Network. This is the Sunday morning show with me, Mike, aka Classic Mike. It's Sunday, October 29th, week 8 of the NFL season. Excited to get you through all the things that we have, missed in the last few days since our Friday show. Today we will go over week 8 start sit questions throughout the show, as well as going over active and inactive players around game time, roughly around 11:30. And then I will give you some DFS value picks for those who are interested in DFS. So make sure you guys keep those questions coming through for the show. I will get to them in the live chat as we go. Also, for those that are brand new to the channel, make sure you guys check out our show schedule right below here. It will be on the ticker for you guys. We have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday morning shows. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for those. Also, make sure you guys keep an eye out for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway show. We will be giving away this beautiful 1,000 subscriber ring coming from trophysmack.com. Make sure you guys use the promo code GETRIGHT at trophysmack.com. You can get things like your own custom ring for your own league. Get a belt, one of their best sellers, as well as the customized trophies, customized chains. You can do whatever you'd like. Use promo code GETRIGHT and they will help you at checkout. All righty. So let's get through some of the news and notes from over the weekend, as well as shouting out my good buddy Rasta right here, waking up bright and early, 8 o'clock on the West Coast, enjoying the morning. What's going on, Rasta? Glad to have you on in the chat. So some news and notes from the overnight. We had Deshaun Watson will continue to be week to week with his rotator cuff injury, but is not expected to be a long-term absence. That would necessitate him being placed on IR, which automatically would side him for 4 weeks. But it looks like the Browns do not look like they want to do that at this point. This coming from Adam Schefter. Newly acquired safety Kevin Byard is gonna, he had a great week of practice and is expected to make his debut today. Right now, they are confident in him playing. They're just going to limit his snaps, maybe, possibly, but they're going to definitely rotate him in as much as possible. Zach Moss, he's listed as questionable for today due to his elbow and heel injury. He wants to see how his foot feels once he puts pressure on it in pregame warmups before he can play. There's optimism that he will play, but we're going to be checking at 11:30 to make sure that is correct. So stay tuned until 11:30, and we will let you know if Zach Moss will be playing. For one of the afternoon games, Pete Carroll said that Tyler Lockett is listed as questionable for today's game with a hamstring injury. He is expected to play today. Pete Carroll's usually pretty good about letting us know what's going on with his players, and this looks like he should be playing. I tell everybody every week, make sure you guys have somebody just in case. You never know. Pre-game warm-ups could change everything. Robert Woods is dealing with the foot injury. He's expected to be sidelined at least 2 to 3 weeks, so it looks like he will be ruled out today and for the next couple weeks. So just be aware of that for Robert Woods. Panthers star pass rusher, Brian Burns, he suffered an elbow injury in Thursday's practice. He's likely going to give it a go today. He won't be 100%. So this is kind of good news for the Houston offense. So we'll get to wait and see how that turns out for them. Chargers we have Joshua Palmer and Gerald Everett. They are both listed as questionable and both considered game time decisions. There's more optimism that Palmer can play over Everett, but both will work out prior to the game. These both are at the late Sunday night game, so I would definitely have pivot options if these are the only, if these are the two options that you have to, pick from. Dolphins are expected to have Raheem Mostert today, sources say. So he's going to test things at warm up. They did say they want to run a little bit more Jeff Wilson. If you have Raheem Mostert, I would maybe think about a pivot option. If you have somebody, I have to make that decision. In one of my leagues, I have Raheem Mostert and Joe Mixon. Mixon going against San Francisco. So I have to kind of make a slight adjustment, possibly getting into that particular game, especially with Mostert coming in with an ankle injury. They might want to hold him back. They do have HN coming back after the bye week, after week 10. So we'll see how it goes. Jeff Wilson is coming back from injury himself, but he is a lot healthier than the other two. Javon Holland is not expected today. He is out. And then Xavier Howard, he hasn't been rolled out, but he isn't probably ready. So the team wants him 100%. So we'll wait and see how that goes. Perry Williams, what's going on, man? Sorry I missed last week. My computer died. It was a massive fail on my part. I apologize to everybody here. It was just, I'm setting up for everything. I'm like 5 minutes from the show, and then all of a sudden my computer just died. And I tried everything I possibly could to get it back on. New computer, new everything. I am back and should be good for now. But yeah, I am back. Sorry that I missed everybody on Sunday. I was really upset. I normally don't do that. I am very meticulous with being here. So yeah, sorry I missed you guys on last Sunday's show, but I'm back. Saints trio of defensive stars and other players like Taysom Hill, Tyrann Mathieu, and Marcus May, all expected to play today. They should be good to go. What up, Kyle Flint? He goes, Deontay Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, JSN, who to flex this week? Full PPR. Holy crap. What type of league is this that you can have those 4 players available to flex? JSN, I'm probably going to keep on the side for this because you have 3 exceptional options with Devontae, Garrett, and Deontay. Garrett Wilson normally would be the guy that I would be like, yeah, Garrett Wilson. But it's so hard. Devontae Smith has been kind of he's been having a down couple of weeks. They've been pretty much peppering AJ Brown, which I still don't understand. And I mean, AJ Brown's still doing it, being triple covered. I would probably lean Deontay. The hard part is he's coming off the he did have a hamstring injury. He is off the injury report. They said that he had tightness in another part of his hamstring, which could just mean it's really just scar tissue and it's just not looking good. So the only healthy person and all coming off a bye at this point is Garrett Wilson. So I would probably go Garrett Wilson, Deontay, Devontae Smith. Those are, that would be how I rank them. Yeah. That I think I'm going to go Wilson, Deontay, and Smith in that order. So look who actually came on tonight. Yeah. Like I said, I had some problems. So you don't understand why they throw. No, I really understand why they do it. I just don't understand why they don't spread the ball out a little bit. Devontae Smith is a very good pass catcher in his own right, and they pretty much hyper target AJ Brown instead of spreading the ball out. But like I said, he still catches the ball in triple coverage, so it doesn't really matter what I think. I have Devontae, and I want him to play well. So Perry goes start 3, so I have to do a running back, 2 flex: Mostert, Stevenson, Puka, Collins, Henderson. Okay. So running back here, this is a tough one. So if I'm going to be picking between Mostert, Stevenson, and Henderson, I'd probably be more inclined to play Mostert, even though he's hurt. But the problem is even with him being at, let's just say 90%, he is definitely I think Mostert is, even at 80%, able to be more efficient than someone like Stevenson. So for me, I feel like Mostert is probably the better play. And then for the 2 flexes, it has to be Puka and Collins. Collins is in a great matchup this week. Doesn't have, has one less problem with Robert Woods, has one more, not one more problem, but it does have a great matchup against the Panthers, who are mostly a zone defense. Or play mostly in zone defense, and he's done well against the zone. So for me, it's got to be Mostert and Mostert, Puka, and Collins. So Anthony thinks it's Stevenson, Puka, and Collins. That's fine too. Either way, I am. It's really just your preference on those 2 running backs. It's really Stevenson or Mostert. You can't really factor in Henderson today against Dallas. Dallas is one of the best against the run. Right now, they are number 3 against the run, or number 3 against the running back. So, yeah. No, Ron, I think he's looking for his RB2, because he said start 3. So that's why I was telling him start. It's picking between Mostert and Stevenson. So that's why I was saying that. Yeah, RB2. So Anthony goes Foreman or Stevenson non-PPR. I'm going to go Foreman. I know he has Roshan behind him. Stevenson doesn't have. Stevenson has Zeke behind him. But I do think that the matchup is a little bit better it's a lot better for Foreman, with the Chargers being absolutely one of the worst against the run. They are 20th comparatively, so I would prefer that. So Roshan is playing, but I still feel like Foreman is the better option here. KJ goes Stevenson, Deontay Foreman, AJ Brown, bench 1. That's a good one. I haven't been feeling Aaron Jones lately, but I know that just means he's due for a day. I would probably lean for. I don't know. I have Foreman listed higher than both. I think I'm going to go Stevenson. Pull Stevenson there. So Neanderthal, what's going on, man? Great to have you here. He goes Ridley or Lockett standard. Ridley. Lockett is hurt, and it's a late game. He is still considered a game time decision. So for now, I would feel more comfortable with Ridley, who I know is going to play, and there is no question to it. So I'm going to do that, even though he's been on he's on a rough start lately. So Rasta goes, dang it, I had Foreman in. Maybe I got to go Stevenson now. Just kidding, bro. George Play 01, what's going on, George Play? Glad to have you here. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If And if you are, make sure you like the show. We have options here: Chris Olave, Deontay Johnson, JSN, or Tank Dell, non-PPR. That makes this much harder. Non-PPR. I'm not in a lot of leagues, so I'm always thinking of the pass. In this case, it's upside, and that would probably the touchdown upside, which is probably Olave. I can't really throw Deontay into that equation. JSN, I don't trust yet. Tank Dell is the other one. So it's between Olave and Tank Dell, in my opinion, when you're ranking them for this particular, start sit. But I would probably lean Olave, like my two buddies in the chat, Rasta and Ronald, both think Olave. So I'm going to lean that way as well. So some other new, I was going to say Tank is more PPR, but he has touchdown upside. So I would still, he's got big playability plus that. So Ross goes Lawrence over Love for me. He was rushing fine in a short week. He has another week under his belt. He should be good to go. Yeah, Lawrence is fine. I wouldn't stress too much about Lawrence. Did we mention? Was there a question about? No, I didn't see that. That's okay. No worries. So moving right along with some news and notes. Curtis Samuel, who is limited this week with a foot injury, he is listed as questionable. He is a game time decision, but they are optimistic about his status. But they're going to test him out at game time, or prior to game time. So we will check in prior. We will go over the actives and inactives very shortly, in about 13 minutes. Looks like Juju Smith-Schuster will be returning to the lineup today. He was out the last few weeks with a concussion, but it looks like he should be good to go today. So he is, Oh, Perry was asked about Love or Lawrence. Yeah, it's always going to be Lawrence. I'm probably never going to pick. I'm not going to pick Love until I see more. I just don't trust. I don't trust Jordan Love. I didn't in the beginning of the season. Oh, there we are. Sorry, start Lawrence. Okay, yeah, no. Don't worry about his knee. His knee is fine. So let's go Lawrence here. I'm not really too worried about that at this point. He came out off a short week, played very well, even ran a few times. They were definitely not expecting that. Juju. Well, then that makes all the difference not to start Juju. Yeah, I'm not starting Juju. I'm just letting you know. I'm going to just give updates as they come in. I usually get quick updates prior to actives and inactives. So I like to, at least let people be aware. Some other news. Trevor Lawrence was my next thing. He's officially questionable to play, but is expected to go. There is no problem. He wore a brace last week. Feels tons better this week. So he should be fine. Got news yesterday. Brock Purdy has cleared concussion protocol. He will be playing today. But Trent Williams, their all-pro left tackle, who is listed as questionable, did not practice all week. He is not expected to play today. Just be aware of that. It's not hugely significant, but sort of is. He is, a huge cornerstone to that particular offensive line. And I would really be. I'm still going to play all my San Francisco options, but temper expectations, except for CMC. Michael Thomas came on the injury report today. He came on the injury report Saturday with an illness. So unlike Bijan, it was Saturday. He is questionable, but right now it's not completely clear if he will play. I got a report prior to the show that said we'll be able to play through this illness today. So he still has the illness and will be playing through it. So that could be significant. So be aware of that. Baker Mayfield is dealing with a left knee contusion that was caused some discomfort. Plans to play through it. in hopes that the 10-day rest will help him. And, MRI came back clear, so he is good to go. Okay, cool. So next we have Bro Cal in the house. What's going on, Bro Cal? He goes non-PPR. What is it with these non-PPR leagues? I got out of this years ago. RB2, Madison, Bijan, Foreman. Or two running backs, Madison, Bijan, and Foreman, 2 wide receivers, Deontay Smith, Waddle, Deontay Johnson. One of the leftovers for flex, not a problem. So for me, it would probably be Madison and Bijan. And then it would probably be Waddle and I want to say Smith, but it might be Deontay. But then I would probably throw Foreman in as the flex option. So Ronald thinks the other way. He goes Bijan, Foreman, Waddle, and Johnson. Thinks Smith would be the best option here for the flex. Yeah, if I'm sitting one, it might be Smith. Take what Ron says with a grain of salt, since he is the Eagles mascot. No, he roots for the Eagles, so I take that with a little grain of salt. I just don't feel comfortable with it. He hasn't been producing lately. Commanders are a good matchup for him, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I think I would have to play all those options. It looks like he wants to sit Madison. Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I trust Madison more with Akers looming just because of the fact it gives him somebody to be like, holy shit, I have to play better. They also have a better matchup overall. They're playing Green Bay, who Green Bay is 21st against running backs this season. And they allow at least 62 fantasy. They allow 62 fantasy points for the last 8 weeks, which averages about 21 points per game. So I am more than happy playing Madison in a flex spot, but Bijan, Foreman definitely. So that's just my opinion, and it's non-PPR. So for me, Smith is more of a PPR target. He is. So Ronald says he is due for one, and Smith has Washington, one of the biggest teams against the deep ball. Yeah, I get it. I mean, you have really good options here, so it's hard to really go off of all of that. Foreman has a good matchup. Madison has a good matchup. Bijan's the only one that doesn't really have a great matchup, but it's one of those scenarios that I still feel comfortable with it, where Bijan, can come back from last week and, I can run with that narrative. Waddle is, you can't not start. If I had to pick, if you're going to go with Smith, Johnson's, or, Deontay is probably the best option. He hasn't scored a touchdown and is he hasn't scored a touchdown since last year. So if you had to, Johnson might be the only guy that I would sit out of that group. So that's just me. Brocal goes, most are off Madison for this week, but also off Foreman, which I don't get the distrust for Foreman just because Roshan's back. Agreed. That I have both Roshan and Devontae Foreman playing today on my team. I'm playing Foreman, and I feel better about it. So Perry goes, start 3. Pittman, DJ Moore, Cooper, Palmer, Josh Downs, or Sam Laporta. I'm going to go DJ Moore here. I'm going to go Josh Downs for sure. Those are the two that I'm very confident in. Here's the other problem. Pittman had the if you want to go with the squeaky wheel narrative in the context of Pittman had a little bit to say recently. So it could be Pittman over Downs. So one of those two is fine. DJ Moore I like as well. Sam Laporta I don't mind. I always will play him in most tight end scenarios, but when it comes to flex, it's harder. I don't trust Cooper. Palmer, I'm unsure about how it goes. just because of the concept that he is hurt. It's a Sunday night matchup. If I play Palmer, at least you have Laporta to pivot to. So that might not be a horrible move. For me, it would be probably Pittman more, Palmer, and then you can flex in Laporta if Palmer's hurt. So Bro Cal goes, thanks for the help. Just kidding. Much love, Sears. No, of course. Yeah, he hasn't scored a touchdown since 2001, and yet you wouldn't trade me him. I wanted him. I just wanted him. I feel confident in him, and you won't trade him. Anyway, Ronald goes, that's true. DJ doesn't score TDs. That's the hard thing with non-PPR. You're looking for the touchdown upside. You're not really looking for the receptions and yardage as much, unless they're a deep threat. So you can go with the boom bust guys, and that would probably make the most sense is sit Deontay Johnson out of those groupings and play all the other guys in one way or another. DJ Moore scored 1 this year. Yeah, he actually scored 3 in that one game. Yeah, Deontay is DJ here. Yeah, I said that. All right, cool beans. So we should be getting actives and inactives rolling through at any minute. Normally I get them a few minutes prior, just because, reporters like to be the first to get everything in. And right now I haven't gotten anything yet. Doesn't mean there isn't anything. There will be things shortly. Hope everybody is enjoying their wonderful Sunday. It's a little rainy here in New York. Jets, Giants have a home game today, which is going to be a little bit rainy. The only game that's actually weather dependent is that game, just because it's going to be a little bit wet. But beyond that, the Denver Broncos versus the Kansas City. Well, sorry, let me flip that. Chiefs at Denver Broncos. That game has snow in the forecast. It is cold. It's 27 degrees there. They already have about 2-3 inches of snow, if not more. There was reports saying something about the concept of being like 14 inches of snow at one point. Right now, we don't know what's going on. Adam Schefter posted a picture of the field currently, and there's a chunk of snow on the field. That's probably with the tarp, though. So, hopefully that's cleared off by game time. They are playing in the late window, so, we'll have to wait and see. There could be snow in the beginning of the game and then tapers off. So just be aware of that for your Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos. I've actually made some changes just because of that. I had a choice between Evan Ingram and Courtland Sutton. I think they're both close to the same tier. I kind of moved to Evan Ingram instead of Courtland Sutton, who did well against them in their matchup recently. If you're going to be throwing the ball in the snow, it's not as easy if it's that much snow. But guys like Isaiah Pacheco and stuff like that should be fine. Javonte Williams, I think, is a decent play today. If you're going to have to keep it low and have to run it, might not be a horrible play. We will talk about him a little bit more in detail when we go through our DFS value picks for those who are interested in daily fantasy. So we will go through those in a minute. Some notable players that we know that are going to be out today. David Montgomery, he is listed as out. Deebo Samuel, Justin Fields, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, Zay Jones, and Robert Woods. They will be out today. Some actives and inactives rolling through that are currently coming in are from the Texans, and we already know about Robert Woods. It looks like apparently injury report update, Patrick Mahomes has an illness. No game status designation. So it looks like he has an illness rolling into the game. A lot of illnesses popping up on the thing. I guess that's the new quote unquote COVID, even though it's probably not COVID. But it's just funny that illness tends to be the thing popping up really lately. Oh, yeah. So Ronald goes, it rains in Denver like every single day and around 6 p.m. Because the stadium is so high in the clouds. Yeah, true. Yeah, he's still expected to play. It's just they added him to the injury report. I think the whole thing with Bijan that happened last week kind of, teams are getting a little nervous about it and don't want to get fined because that was kind of bull that happened for a lot of people. I had one guy that I played last week that had Bijan. I almost beat him because of that. Guy had me by 30 points prior to that in projections, and Yeah. I just Adam Levitan. He just said teams saw Bijan's outrage and are adding players with sniffles to the injury report. Yeah, that's really funny. Texans or the Titans inactives. We already know Ryan Tannehill. He will be inactive today. No one else on that roster that looks significant. Tyron Smith for the Cowboys, their left tackle. He is going to be inactive today. He was questionable throughout the week, but he will be inactive today. It looks like Randall Cobb for the Jets. He will be inactive today. Some other Jets, which don't really matter to most people. Israel, yeah, he's not going to be in today. Let me see. So, yeah, Randall Cobb will be out today. Carl Lawson will be out, which is kind of a big deal, but not really. No one on the Vikings. It looks like Hawk will play without a problem. Zay Jones will be out today as well. Jordan Davis for the Eagles is active today. He will play. Looks like Traquan Thornton will be a healthy scratch for the Patriots today. Curtis Samuel is active today. He will play. Dolphins will not have Xavier Howard. All other questionable players will play. So Connor Williams will be in the lineup today, their center. Eagles have Rashad Penny as inactive. They don't list him as anything other than, I'm assuming, a healthy scratch. Saints inactives today are Jimmy Graham, and it looks like Michael Thomas is active. So Michael Thomas will be active today. I don't think that really affects anybody. I wouldn't be playing him. Just don't like him. No other things have come through. Today is a little bit longer of a list just because we have so many teams that are playing today. We have no buys this week, which is nice. But remember, next week we have 4 buys or 4 teams on a buy. So make sure you guys have somebody available for next week for some spots. I know I have in a lot of leagues Evan Ingram and Sam Laporta. So I've already made arrangements to make sure I have some type of tight end to play next week. So it looks like Jalen Ramsey will make his season debut today. Xavier Howard will not. So they kind of lose an all-pro and gain an all-pro all in one day. Javon Holland, we already knew was going to be out today. He is out as well. Apparently, Patrick Mahomes is battling the flu. Better today than yesterday. He will play. Trevor Lawrence is active today, who, he was someone we were talking about before. Full list of active and inactives. Raheem Mostert is active with Michael Thomas, Curtis Samuel, and Zach Moss. So Zach Moss is active today. Randall Cobb, Tyron Smith, Jimmy Graham. Those are a couple guys that are inactive today. So be aware of that. Whew. All right. I don't know if we got through everybody. I think we got through everybody. So Randall goes, it was a migraine. You can't predict them. No, completely understand. But they labeled the way they handled it was just messed up. So Neanderthal goes, should I play Powell or Jennings over Palmer or wait until last minute with Palmer and play Josh Reynolds if he doesn't play? Honestly, that's fine with me. Josh Reynolds isn't a horrible I don't think Josh Reynolds is a horrible play, so I would still go with Joshua Palmer. You can use Palmer and then have Josh, Reynolds available after that. So I'm okay with that. I do like Juwan Jennings, but I like him more as a DFS play just because of his value. But nothing, I wouldn't do that unless you're in a tough spot. Giants inactives today. Evan Neal is inactive today with Andrew Thomas. Daniel Jones, we already knew about. Nothing really significant other than that. Zach Moss being active, we already knew that. Packers inactives, nobody that we care about. Luke Musgrave is active. He was the only guy that people were unsure about. He is active today as well. So Luke Musgrave, Jair Alexander, and Campbell are all active, which is good. So Johnny D, what's going on? I'm in the spoiler role, being 1-6, pick 3 PPR. Devontae Adams, Myers, Tank Dell, Boyd, CeeDee Lamb. I understand Lamb is an automatic start, but his matchup worries me. He goes, I'm constantly being burned by Adams, but he was my first selection this season. Totally confused whether to play him or not. Hey, man, this is a stud roster. So you're making this really hard. Sorry, that's what she said. This is tough for me, to be really fair. Oh, hold on. Zach Evans is active. We already knew that. Burns is active. That's fine. Havenstein is inactive. So load up the Dallas defense. All right, cool. So, full PPR. I think and it's really hard for me to tell you to start Adams and Jacoby Myers. I don't think I could do that, even though I would like to have Jacoby Myers in this particular situation. CeeDee Lamb is probably your best bet if you're going by just clear name on the jersey. Well, name off the jersey. Myers is the top guy out of those, options. CeeDee Lamb, I think you have to start. Don't worry about the matchup. It's not a great one, but it's not a bad one either. I would still be playing CeeDee Lamb in that particular situation. Then it's really between Devontae Smith, Adams, and Myers. Tank Dell has a great matchup today. But at the same time, I would prefer Myers, Adams, and Smith over all of them. I would probably be leaning Adams just because of he's getting Jimmy back. They're going to probably, he's been doing the squeaky wheel. So Adams is probably a better bet. I'd probably go Lamb, Adams, and then it's really between Myers and Smith. I would prefer Myers just because Smith has been having a rough couple weeks. He has, he keeps his mouth shut and has been kind of quiet. So if I had to pivot, I would probably go Tank Dell, but I like Myers more than Dell. But I wouldn't want to play Adams and Myers on the same team. That's tough to do. I don't like taking two from the same offense. That's probably part of the reason why you're having such issues is because you're having those two players and you're trying to make decisions off of it. And you're playing Adams, Myers does better, and then you play Myers and then Adams does better. That's the problem with having those two. I would trade one of those guys away. I would probably trade Adams and try to get a decent running back just so that you can have a little bit more flexibility with your team. But then you would be putting a position where you're playing Smith over Myers. And on most given days, I would probably do that. But Myers has been outstanding the last few weeks. Smith has kind of been on the downturn while he's on the upturn. So if you want to hedge your, I don't know if I could do that. I want to tell you Myers, but I think if you're playing Adams, you can't play Myers. So it would be Smith. I don't think Tyler Boyd's in that equation. Dell is a very I think if you need the upside, it's Tank Dell. If you need a floor play, it's Devontae Smith. That's how I feel about that. It's one of those, it's a very tough decision to make with those people. So Brokow goes scoring Lockett, Ferguson, DJ Moore, and Smith pick 2 for Scotty Fishbowl. Okay, so I would probably play Ferguson as one of those and DJ Moore. Those are probably the 2 guys that I would play in that, especially for Scotty Fishbowl. Ronald agrees. It's rough to play Adams and Myers together, but they are the 2 best, and Lamb. Yeah. I just don't know if I could do it. So his running backs actually are Mostert, ETN, and Josh Jacobs with Devontae. See, wow. So you have a crazy team, but yet you are not winning. That makes no sense at all. Like you have the RB1, RB5, RB3. Josh Jacobs is a little bit lower. Swift, you're kind of hit or missing here and there. Holy crap. So Ronald goes, Ronald, I have the second highest point total in my 10-team family league. I am consistently being burned by 1-2 players having boom games. It's super frustrating, justifying one player ruining it all. Hey, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, Ronald, what I'm trying to say is that Smith is a better floor play because he has a higher floor, just because of the PPR point option here. Tank Dell is just a ceiling play because he has more potential for boom or bust. Both are boom bust guys in the context of going deep. See, he does and he doesn't. I haven't seen enough from him to go, oh, he's the clear number 2. He is the clear number 2 now, just because of Woods being out. I do think Dalton Schultz takes a bigger step up this particular week just because of Woods being out. But at the same time, Dell being number 2 in this particular offense, these guys seem pretty similar. He's just a smaller dude. Smith is just a thinner dude. They're both, they're not, for NFL players, they're tough to gauge because one hit could really knock them out for a while. These guys, you need to be AJ Brown to, stay healthy in these types of leagues. It's hard. That particular scenario is tough, Johnny D. You have a really tough but really good scenario. Yeah, he gets 8 targets a game, but Smith will get 12. Even though he gets 12, he'll get 12 yards and catch 7. And then Dell will get 8 and catch 4 or 5 or 6. So, and then it would be like 6 for 90 and a touchdown. Smith can be the same exact way. Everything is just so up in the air, but they are definitely both guys that I like. They're both roughly around the same general area for the most part. Smith goes to 21 in my rankings. I have Tank Dell at 40, but I could definitely raise them up more to like 36, but that's the hard part. So yeah, hey man, I've always been the proponent of my ideal wide receiver is Calvin Johnson. Like any smaller dude, like it's not like for most small guys in the NFL, it's tough. They have a lot of scenarios, but I'm not like I aim for like the Mike Evans, the AJ Brown. So yeah, might be a height supremacist, but at the end of the day, I prefer that. I just prefer that particular prototype comparatively to like the Wes Welkers of the world. The small slot guys. I just never have gotten on board with that. But But yeah. Yeah. See that, and that's where the problem is with Smith. Smith's floor. Let's look at it, because I have Smith in my league. I have to make these decisions too. It would, for me, it's Smith or Deontay Johnson. And right now, the last few games he has been horrible. 6-6-1, and then 11-4 and 22-14. So the first 2 weeks of the season, he was killing it. Then AJ Brown had a hissy fit, and he's been nothing. So you have to kind of factor those things in. But his targets are 5, 11, 5, 9, 5, 5, 10. So he's averaging, his floor is basically roughly 6, 7 targets a game. Yeah, I know. I picked the wrong guy. He was really an absolute beast. I just, I never got on board. Like I'm using older players to kind of gauge it. If you want to go with the newer guys, like I'm Mike Evans. Like I like Mike Evans. I like AJ Brown. I like DK Metcalf. I like those bigger dudes. Even Cooper Kupp is a big dude. But anything after that, like Devontae Smith to me is a smaller receiver. He is not a prototype type receiver. He's just he's 180 pounds and less than 6 foot, I think he is. So, that's just thin and undurable in some situations. They did studies on it where if you actually look at it, the studies show that for wide receivers, I think you have to be 6'1", 220 to be productive and last. For running backs, it's 5'10" to 6 foot at 210 pounds. Or no, I think it's 200 to 220 pounds, something like that. Quarterbacks, it's like 6'3" and 220 or higher. Not Loren, not hefty lefty standards, but you just got to be a heavier than 220. So, I mean, that's what I go off of more. The guys that are at the lower end of that spectrum tend to not last as long in season just because less durable, less mass, all that stuff. You can call me whatever you want. That's just how I view it. Little guys get beat up in the slot. If they are the X receiver, they do okay. Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why Tank Dell should do okay. But the problem is with the little guys on the that are on the outside, they tend to have a lot of contested catches, which then cause more injury because of the concept that they get, they get those big hit injuries from the safeties. And that's what kills them. They get beat up in the middle, yeah, but it's really but they're getting those short intermediate catches, but they have to deal with the linebackers. So either way, they're screwed. That's why I said getting those little guys is tough, but little guys, little target to hit comparatively to the big guys with the big target. So we can have a year conversation about this. It's just something, I've always been more a proponent to guys that are, a little bit bigger. That's all. It is what it is. All righty. Yeah. Classic Jenny in the house. Yeah. Height shaming is real. Yeah. It is what it is. I'll take it. So let's move on to some DFS value picks. We got some QBs to start with. We're going to go to the QB list right here for FanDuel. We are using FanDuel for this particular lineup. First, let me get to Neanderthal. Neanderthal goes start 3, Waddle, Cup, Ayuk, Cooper, or high end also have Godwin, but already played full PPR. So start 3, it would probably be Waddle, Cup, and Ayuk. Cooper's the guy I'm sitting out of that group. So yeah, see, I didn't like Deshaun Jackson coming out. But yeah, he is an example of a guy that I wasn't really a fan of because of his size. He kind of grew Oh, Higgins is in there too. Ooh. Between Waddle, Cup, Higgins, and Ayuk, I think Cooper's out of the equation. Yeah, I'm gonna go Waddle, Cup, Ayuk. Still like that. Yeah, definitely a height supremacist. It's fine. It's fine. For fantasy, I'm a height supremacist. Deal with it. So we are using FanDuel for DFS. Right now, Joe, I've learned a lot in the last few weeks about DFS and certain things to do, especially for different sites. FanDuel tends to be you want to go with a little bit more towards the higher end QBs. It's just they tend to do a lot of things. They tend to have better scores, and even if you're going with these value picks down here, like I'm telling you, they don't produce as much, and they sometimes can be where you can get like the 4 points. Now, granted, you can get that with anybody, but I think the value picks for this week, you got Joe Burrow a little bit down this list. He's at 7,100 today against San Francisco. Yes, I understand it's San Francisco. They're coming off the bye. He's healthy. San Fran has been struggling a little bit lately. They are still a elite defense. They have a lot of elite players. They are fourth best against QB, but I do think that if Kirk Cousins can put up what they did last week, I feel like Burrow can do okay. It is home, so that kind of does help them a little bit, just because traveling West Coast to play is a little bit different. But overall, I think Joe Burrow has a decent matchup. CJ Stroud is the other guy at $7,400. If you wanted to pay down a little bit, I think he's in a really good matchup today. He's been doing really well against zone defense, and that's what the Panthers play. So I would strongly suggest those two guys. Those are two guys I'm aiming for. You could even maybe throw Brock Purdy in there now that he's active. But other than that, those are my two for this week. If you want to go with the top end guys, Christian McCaffrey is at $10,000. I mean, it's really just because of the concept that he scores a touchdown every week. Travis Etienne is the other guy. It's 8,700. Technically, he's a steal. He's been scoring 2 touchdowns for the last 3 weeks, so just be aware of that as well. Kenneth Walker going against a tougher defense. Alvin Kamara going against the Indianapolis Colts. Those are 2 really good options. But if you want to spend down and spend a few less dollars, Isaiah Pacheco is a good option today against Denver. Breece Hall against the Giants, $7,200. Jonathan Taylor going against the Saints. I think these 3 guys right here should be in your lineup in one way or another. They just have really good matchups and good price value for what you're looking for. Some other guys. One guy I really like this week for DFS is Dameon Pierce. I know he's been losing carries to Devin Singletary, but overall, Carolina is horrible against horrible against the run. They're 31st if you can look at their numbers. $6,700 for him. If you're in a pinch and you want to go a little bit lower, Dameon Pierce is your guy. Gus Edwards is the other guy going against the Cardinals at $6,600. He's a really good play this week. Joe Mixon you can throw in as well at $6,500 if you're looking for a little bit more of a high-end guy but low price. I don't hate that. Let's go a little bit lower. A guy that we talked about before, Alexander Mattison going against the Green Bay Packers, $6,100. This is really good value if you're using DFS, just because you can spend high and have a couple guys with a little bit lower. Javonte Williams, a little bit, I like his matchup today against Kansas City in the snow. That should be a good matchup for him. And last but not least, if you really, this is a dart throw. I'm not condoning this. I don't think you should do it, but he's been getting a ton of run lately. $4,900. They are facing Atlanta, who is one of the better defenses in the league, believe it or not. They are one of the better defenses. He's $4,900. They've been using him a ton in negative game script. If this game turns and becomes an Atlanta Falcon game where right now they are favored, I would think that Spears is a great low play option and he's not going to be used in a lot of spots. So he could be a really good option for you for today. Another guy that I would think about is, I got to find him first because I didn't write him down until today. Jeff Wilson, $5,800. He could be getting a bigger role today with Raheem Mostert hurt. It could either be him or Salvin Ahmed. But overall, I do think Jeff Wilson would be the guy to get the ball. $5,800 in this particular matchup, I don't mind at all. So those are some of my running back values of today. Another guy, we're going to go into the wide receivers. Wide receivers wise, this one is a little bit more fun. Wide receivers, we have Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, AJ Brown. These are the guys at the very top. Jamar Chase coming off the bye, $8,500. Adam Thielen right here in the fifth option, which is crazy. But let's move down the list a little bit and get you to some value picks. Christian Kirk going against the Steelers at $7,000. That's a steal. Definitely aim for someone like him. We were talking about Devontae Smith. He has a really good matchup this week. $6,900. This is the lowest you're ever going to get him. So for me, this is not a horrible play. I would still, if in DFS you're playing, you could play Devontae Smith without a problem. Calvin Ridley at this price is insane too, $6,800. I understand he's been falling off lately, but not a bad matchup for him, not a bad price. If you need a guy in this particular area, that guy, Calvin works really well for you. T. Higgins is another guy. He is at $6,800 in a good matchup. I think he'll be fine today. If you're looking for him, he's recovered from his rib injury. I do think he is a good option. Another guy who I normally don't pick because I'm not a big fan of him in general because of the offense. Drake London, $6,700 going against Tennessee's pass funnel defense. No more Kevin Byard in the secondary. So for me, I do like Drake London today. Maybe they see the advantage and take advantage of it. Let's move down the list a little bit more. Deontay Johnson at $6,400. He is a good bet against the Jags. Christian Watson is another guy, $6,300. Coming back from injury, coming back from a bye. There's so many things that could go well. I don't trust Jordan Love, but this is not a horrible option overall. Next, we have Josh Downs, who we talked about before, $6,100. Not a bad price. Tank Dell as well, $6,000. I do like Rashid Rice, but unfortunately with the game going the way that it should, if it's the weather, it would be harder for me to trust this. But he is not a horrible price if you're looking to take a little bit of a risk or gamble. Perry Williams goes Laporta or Pittman. Ew. The answer is ew. And the only reason why I say that is because I love Laporta. I think I'm going to go Pittman here because of the squeaky wheel narrative. I'm going to use that as the reasoning behind Pittman. I do like Laporta just because I'm just a huge fan of him. So it's kind of hard for me to you have to take what I say about Laporta with a grain of salt. And I'm going to tell you I'm biased because most situations I'm going to pick Laporta. But in this particular scenario, I'm going to go with Pittman just because the squeaky wheel narrative, and that's the reasoning behind it. That's all I can really tell you. So Rasta's doing a Yahoo DFS lineup. He's doing Lamar, JT, Pollard, Puka, Waddle, AJ Brown, Mark Andrews, Cooper Kupp, and Atlanta defense. Holy shit. Okay. Good for you. I like that. I don't like that I'm stacking the Rams Dallas game, but hey, why not? Yeah. That's a sick lineup for the money. Holy shit. I might try that somewhere. It's not bad. That's not a bad option there, Ant. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's get into the tight ends who we were just talking about. We have the, always the top three with good old Kelsey stealing the show here at $9,000. It's really tough to make lineups with him in it just because of his price, and everybody stacks him with Patrick Mahomes. If Taylor Swift is at the game, you might want to throw him in there. Not a bad option, but it is what it is. Mark Andrews coming hot lately. Hawkinson is a little banged up. We got Waller in the game, $6,400. That is a lot cheaper than most, so not a horrible option, but I might go a little bit lower and go with Evan Ingram here at $5,700. I know he's going to get Mika Fitzpatrick. That's fine. He's still one of the better options at that price point. Another guy that I like a lot is Jonnu Smith at $5,300. He's been consistent lately. So if you're looking to do like a higher options for all your wide receivers and all that stuff, and you want a lower tight end option, $5,300 for Jonnu is not a bad pick. Jake Ferguson is a lot lower on this list, so he might be the better pick at $4,900. This is a better matchup if you want to spend lower. And then, of course, Trey McBride, who now has the tight end room for himself. He is $4,700. He's not bad either. It's just one of those scenarios that I think a lot of people are going to use him because of his price point. So I would suggest kind of focusing away from something like that. Another guy is Foster Moreau. He dropped a really bad touchdown, but he was wide open. So he's not a bad option either. So Anthony goes, McVay outcoaches McCarthy. Oh, for sure. Also, classic is his mama named him Arthur Juan. So I'm going to call him Arthur Juan. Yeah, go ahead, man. I'm just going to go AJ Brown because I'm always going to mess up somebody's name. And yeah, I just don't feel like messing up names today. I did that all day on Friday. So anyway, let's move on to the to your defensive players for today. Your DSTs. Let's do a couple right now. Kansas City at 4,500 is probably your best bet. Just below them is the Jets at 4,400 against the Giants. I think that's a really good price point. Seattle Seahawks, $4,300 against the Cleveland Browns, who are going to have PJ Walker behind center. If you really want to take the narrative of Joe Burrow just being horrible lately, 49ers, $4,200. That's actually a really good price for the 49ers as a whole. And then my really low price is the Atlanta Falcons at $3,900 going against Tennessee, who will have Will Levis most likely starting or Malik Willis. They're going to both be playing something. I don't know. That's a good price point. Another really sneaky one. If you guys want a really, I know I represent the Giants, so on and so forth, but not a horrible option. The Giants today going against Zach Wilson. He's been prone to getting sacked, and the Giants have been doing better lately. They did very well against the Commanders in sacking Sam Howell. I think they sacked them like 5 times. And on top of that, they only had, I think they had less than 5 coming into that. But still, decent pass rush, beat up team, really crappy, QB. Could be a good option. Just saying. So I don't hate that option for the Giants. So those are my DFS value, the picks of the week. So make sure you guys check those out. If you guys play DFS, good luck to you. Make sure you guys check out our affiliate podcast as well. We got the Fantasy Frontline podcast with Tim and AJ. AJ is doing a show today right now covering the Rams and Dallas Cowboys game. So check him out. The link, I believe, is in our private sleeper channel, which is listed below as well. So make sure you guys check that out. Also check out the Check Down podcast with Cody McGoats and the crew. They are every Wednesday at 8:30. And also keep an eye out for Adam's show, them boys himself, the Deadzone fantasy show. He should be coming out with something shortly. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for those things. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to those particular channels as well. Whew. All right, let's get through some other stuff and other plugs. Let's go to our Underdog Fantasy plug. Make sure you guys check out Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code right here, get right, and they will double your first deposit. They have a lot of things with weekly pick'em specials, especially this one with Jalen Hurts at 0.5 yards. So get one of your picks at least right over here. So make sure you guys check them out. We also have other things, other contests going on for them. Check out the map as well. Let me see. Yeah, Ross is trying to help me out. Ross is trying to help me out with something with Tim. I would just throw you guys right over to Tim. I need the link real quick, so let me get the link. I'm not currently on that, so I'm going to get the link for Tim right now for you all because I want you guys to be able to check him out. Just give me 1 second. New computer, new logins for everything, so just bear with me. No, like this. Don't worry, I got it. Love doing things on the air for you guys, just so you guys can have the right and best information, so you guys can go watch our other buddies all over the place. We have so many people that do great things, especially Tim and AJ. AJ is one of them. Where are we? There we are. Here we go. Almost there. All right. And boom. Did it. Oh, I had the cover up the whole time. I'm sorry. But at least you got to see that for a few minutes and understand to go check out Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Get Right. I know. Come on, man. I'm here by myself. What do you want me to do? I didn't have it to begin with. I wanted to make sure I had it. I wanted to make sure we're promoting our big, our guy right here with Tim. Make sure you guys check him out. I have the link below. It's in the chat, so make sure you guys grab it. Go check him out after this. He's going to be doing that. What did he say? Yeah. So he'll be sitting there destroying the Cowboys, which is fantastic. Always love when we can talk bad about the Cowboys. Ron agrees, but he says, good luck, guys. Good luck to everybody, of course, today. If you guys have any more questions, make sure you guys throw them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to start wrapping this thing up so that we can get ready for the games today. Trying to think if there's anything else I got to talk about. Well, I'm going to bring this up anyway. We have our 1,000 subscriber video giveaway. We are giving away this ring from good old TrophySmack.com. Make sure you guys are checking out TrophySmack.com. They have all different types of things, customized rings, belts, trophies, chains. You can customize all these things to your liking. So make sure you guys check out TrophySmack.com using the promo code Get Right. So check them out and keep an eye out for that video. We are going to have that video out soon. So Eagles to the Super Bowl, baby. Ronald says, talk about how good. No, we're not. I'm not talking about how good the Eagles are. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. I'd be the first one to talk good about the 49ers and not for the Eagles. Now Ron's just trying to start stuff with Rasta in the chat. It's okay. We'll figure that all out. Byron, what's going on, man? He goes late to the stream, but also facing the same issue with Myers and Adams. I play Adams over and over, and I continue to get burned. Myers is the safer floor for both of those guys. He is definitely the floor play for it. If you want the ceiling play, Adams is, of course, the better and higher ranked player. and we can go off another fun little tidbit from the league. I mean, don't be a fantasy slave or a fantasy ranking slave. If you want, play Myers over Adams. That is definitely, it's definitely one of those things where he can have a crazy ceiling too. Yes, Ronald, agreed. But he has the safer floor because he is still consistently targeted in that particular offense. He has a ton of value. I'm playing him in my flex spot this week over guys like Deontay Johnson, but his targets can range anywhere from 10, 12, 4, 10, 7, 3, 13. So his particular, that averages 9 targets a game, roughly. I'm just trying to do math in my head. And he's been averaging over 50 yards a game and 3 touchdowns he has 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So yeah, I flexed him over Deontay. And I have Devontae Smith. I have Deontay Johnson. I have Adam Thielen as well. And Nico Collins. So I'm pretty much putting him in anywhere I can. And Godwin did really well this week. Baker has been playing very well lately. So I give a lot of credit to Baker. I actually have Baker in my Dynasty League just because he costs nothing. But I have Baker, I have Purdy, I have Goff, and Josh Allen. So I never play those 3. But I will be playing them I'll be playing somebody in week 13 when Josh Allen isn't around. So either way, if you guys have any other questions, throw them in. It's really tough. I know, Byron, with this. You can't play both. I would trade if I had this particular situation, I would think about trading. Oh, so he's still kicking myself for not choosing Adam Thielen on waivers a few weeks ago. He's been lights out. Yeah. I ended up picking him up early in the season because I had a wide receiver conundrum and I needed somebody. So I picked him up and he ended up doing well. So I was like, perfect. I was going to say trade Adams. If you're going to do any of this, trade Adams, get a wonderful running back that can help you, a good, solid, high-end RB2 or low-end RB1 that can really help you out. You could probably get more for him, to be quite honest. And you could probably do it after this week. So see what happens this week. If you're playing both, I wouldn't. One, they both play Monday night. Hey, it's Worm. What's going on, Worm? Glad you made it. Hope your kid had a good day playing football, or if you're the coach of a team. I know that you have football and you always miss it, but it's all good. Yeah. It's Italian time. He was probably at the San Gennaro feast yesterday and, just waking up from that. Who knows? But either way, with the Adams and Myers, I would try to trade Adams for a decent running back and go from there. So Byron goes, Ronald would love to trade, but nobody in my league trades. It's super annoying being stuck with a team all year. Still offer. I would just throw him out there. Be like, hey, if you have a group chat, be like, hey, Devontae Adams is on the trade block. Anybody interested? I think the team's at the top of the list because if at this point, anyone at the top is going to be like, how can I improve my team? The fact that people don't like trading is ridiculous. So Soothing Music is back. He goes Etienne and Thielen for Tyreek and Brees, and Thielen for Tyreek. You got to clarify that, big guy. I got to understand what you're talking about here. He goes Thielen and Etienne for Tyreek or Brees. And you're trying to figure out who to do. I wouldn't trade Etienne. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go to Worm's question. This is a little bit easier for me to determine, while Soothing kind of reworks the question a little bit, just to give me an idea what you're talking about. Worm goes Pierce or Downs. See, this is really tough for me. If it's PPR, I'm going Downs. If it's half PPR, I'd probably lean Pierce. Pierce has a great matchup today against Carolina. So I understand that Devin Singletary has been taking a lot away from him. Downs has been playing lights out for the last few weeks with Gardner Minshew behind center. They are facing the Saints. Saints are not horrible against the wide receiver. They are roughly 11th against the wide receiver this year. But Carolina is 30th against the running back, and they are more of a pass funnel defense. They play a lot of zone. So for me, I just feel like I think this is a great matchup for him. So for me, they definitely had a lot of time to get everything back in order after the bye week. So yeah, they definitely took time. I like Pierce a little bit more. But I kind of agree with Ronald here. Downs is more for full PPR. But Pierce is definitely anything lower than full. I would probably throw Pierce in there. But yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he's talking about, because he brought this up on the show the other day. It's Etienne and Thielen for Tyreek, or Brees and Thielen for Tyreek. So it just, the wording kind of is throwing me off here. Oh, that's what it is. Etienne and Thielen for Tyreek, or Brees and Thielen for Tyreek. Okay. So either way, you get Tyreek from this particular trade. I wouldn't do that. I just wouldn't do it. Like, I don't mind having Tyreek on my team, and I remember you listing off the players that you have on your roster from last time, and from the team that you have. I wouldn't do it. I would just stick with what you got. You got a solid team. You have Brees Hall, you have Etienne, you have Thielen. Just roll with that group of guys. You also have a pretty good, decent amount of receiver. I remember you had a good receiving options. So I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And you're giving up a lot for Tyreek. That's a lot. I would probably just give Tyreek for Etienne if you're going to do it, but I wouldn't even do that. You keep Etienne, you keep Brees Hall, you use both, and just keep crushing everybody else. Because even the Tyreek owner doesn't always have a crazy week. I mean, a bad week for Tyreek Hill is 16 points. So, you just got to... Yeah, I was just going to say that. Etienne is equal to Tyreek on his own. So that's my whole point. I think you're giving up too much for Tyreek Hill. And honestly, I don't think that I would do that regardless. I think that I'm sticking with what I got. You got good depth at wide receiver, good depth at running back. Keep it. That's all I would do. So that's my suggestion there. Worm, I hope I helped you out with the Dameon Pierce and Josh Downs. Like I said, PPR, I'd go Downs. Anything lower than that, I'd probably go Pierce. I think Pierce has a potential to have a really good day. Ray W, what's going on, Ray? Glad to have you back. He goes, "What's up, Mike? Purdy or Stroud?" Ooh, I'm gonna go Stroud. I know that Bengals are pretty vulnerable. Purdy coming off the injury, it could be one hit. I'd like Stroud a lot more. He's been producing a lot more lately. Ronald kind of agrees with me here, says Stroud. So I think I'm going to go Stroud. He's been really solid production. I mean, he's going to have to show out because this is the battle of the rookies. So I think he wants to be that better rookie. He has an opportunity to do so just because, this is a really good matchup for him. He does really good against zone defenses, and they're playing his own defense. So I feel a lot more confident with Stroud. Purdy is, of course, a wonderful quarterback, but he's dependent on a lot of different factors. So for me, I'm going to go with Stroud. So full PPR, we got Palmer, Downs, or Pacheco. If you're going to have me pick one of these guys, it's going to be Pacheco because he's definitely the higher ranked out of the guys. He's going to get the ball more, and he's going to have higher volume. If I had to rank them, it's Pacheco, Downs, and then Palmer. Just because we're unsure about Palmer because of the injury. Downs has been having a great week with full PPR. So for me, I'm going to lean more Pacheco just because he's the better player out of the three of those. But Downs is a close second. Definitely a close second. Minshew has been making him relevant. So I don't hate it. Really good options, though. Really good options. Yeah, for sure. We all know where Ron's going to go with this, but it's definitely the Eagles. The Eagles defense is going to be going against Sam Howell, and Sam Howell is, my God, letting up the most sacks to any of them, and they had the second highest pass for. I think they have the second highest pressure rate in the league. Yeah, you're going Eagles D. That's an easy one for me. I can never, I love when you guys give me a couple easy ones. Those make it easy. Yeah. Just, yeah. That's a good projection. Definitely 7-2 for that. I can see that. I can even see higher, unfortunately. Thankfully, I don't face them this week. So, I would just good rule of thumb for any of those that play with DST. Follow the Commanders. Just follow them. Just every week. They play until week 14. Follow the Commanders. That's all you got to do. So, even if you want to get ahead of it, if you have let's just say on your bench you have some guy that just doesn't matter, pick up the Commanders. That you're whoever's facing the Commanders next week, and just do that. Like, just follow the Commanders. I'm telling you. Worm goes pick 3: Mixon, Foreman, Swift, JT. All right. So I'm gonna go JT as the number 1. I will definitely be playing JT full PPR. So I think we have to go Swift. Gonna have to go Swift. So JT, Swift, and Mixon. JT, Swift, and Mixon. I know that it would probably be between Mixon and Foreman. Foreman is not involved as much in the passing game. Mixon is. Even though it's a tough matchup, you still have, I don't think anyone Worm in this particular stream today, I have had a ton of non-PPR leagues. It's incredible. Never seen it before where there's so many non-PPR. It's very rare. PPR kind of popped in the last 8 years. It's been more relevant. If you guys really want to try something fun, and one thing that I want to do next year in my league, I definitely want to try it if people are willing, is tiered points per reception. So basically what it is instead of getting the 0.5 or 1 point that you always get for, it doesn't matter how many yards, but as long as you catch the ball, you always get that 0.5 or 1 point based on half point or 4 point. With tiered, if you catch a pass between 1 and 9 yards, you get 0.25. If you catch a ball more from 10 yards to 19, you get 0.5. If you catch the ball between 20 and 29, you get 0.75, and anything higher than that. Yeah. Nothing broke. It's okay. We're okay. But if you get anything, above the 39, it's 1 point. I love that way more. So you have Mixon on the bench. Okay. I like Mixon a little bit more just because he's involved in the passing game. He's a better option, even though the matchup's better for Foreman. It doesn't mean that Foreman will do well in that matchup. But yeah, that's just, yeah. It was between those two as the two that I'd be dropping. So, Warrior Loft, what's going on, man? Great to have you here tonight. Hope everything is going well. Had you on Friday as well. If you have any last minute things, throw them in there now. I'm going to be wrapping this up in a few minutes just so that I can get my own lineup set up and get myself settled prior to today's matchups for week 8. David? What do you mean there, Ronald, for tonight? Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to wait to see a few seconds. I know Warrior came to join us, so I'm also... No, I always say tonight, just whenever I talk to anybody, and I like it's kind of funny. Whenever I go to like a store or whatever, I always go, "Oh, have a great night." And like, even if it's like this time of day, and it's always because I'm not going to see that person for the rest of the day, and I hope they have a good rest of the night instead of the concept of have a great day. I'm just a weird thought process. Oh, I do. Yeah, I'm weird. Dr. Klutz goes arriving late, but hey, we miss you last week. Yes, computer malfunction. Literally 2 minutes before the show, computer just shut down and I couldn't get it back up. So, he just said, I'm good. I just wanted to swing by and like. Oh, of course. Make sure, if you haven't already, like the video. That keeps us up in the algorithms as well. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. We are going to be giving away this ring from TrophySmack.com. Make sure you guys are using promo code GetRight for that particular league. Thanks, Ronald. Appreciate it. Love the humor. All right, everybody. We're going to wrap this up. I hope everyone has a wonderful week 8, unless you're going against me. So for Dustin, for Frank, for Rasta, I know he's in the chat. I hope everybody has a wonderful week 8. We will see you guys tomorrow. We have our overreaction show with Frank and Rasta. And then on Wednesday, we'll be back after that. We have Frank and Rasta again doing their roster management and buy-sell targets right before the trade deadlines that are coming up soon. And then I'll be back next Friday and Sunday just to give you guys your help with start-sit questions and getting you guys ready for your Week 9 matchups. We also have the German game that is going to go on with the Miami Dolphins and the Chiefs. So we have a lot going on next week as well as this week. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Keep an eye out for that 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Like I said, check out all the other guys in the, all of our affiliates in the chat. We got Tycoon in there as well. We have Dynasty Pylon. Make sure you guys check out Martin, one of the hardest working guys in this particular space. So check him out as well. So make sure you're just go into the description. There's so much that you can have and so much that we have going on. So for Dustin, for Frank, for Rasta, I hope to see you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a good week 8. Peace.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleep.